tell us, why'd you write Find a Way?
Well, first of all, I love that when you get older, you get to call your book a memoir. In earlier years, it's just a book. But now it's sexy, it's a memoir. As you probably know, this was an epic dream. It's an epic wilderness out there. I think if tonight we were to, on this table behind me, spread out all the nautical charts of the Earth's surface, we could not find a more challenging Mother Nature raging on steroids for a swimmer as she does between Cuba and Florida. I have two of my dear teammates sitting in the front row here, Dee Brady and Pauline Berry, and they can attest because they went every attempt we had all over and over and over again as to how hard it is to describe how vast it is out there and what can come up. And not only did I want to chronicle this 35-year journey, and in the end, it honestly was more about the journey. As we have often said and debated, through history and literature, is it the destination or is it the journey? And I remember that moment. It was only 2 years ago, Labor Day 2013, of emerging from the sea and my teammates side by side with me. But honestly, deep down, the daily sort of memories, you might say, you're living out loud, not just flashing back to, is the journey and the lessons learned on it. So I wanted to share. It's so odd. It's this is what I always do. I'm going to answer like 72 questions, and then we'll be out of time, and I'll forget what the first question was. But the details, the vocabulary of this extreme adventure are so eccentric. I mean, who else runs into the box jellyfish? Who else swims 53 hours nonstop, not to mention all the training hours? It's a very tricky navigation to get across. You're trying to go due north, the current's screeching due east. You can't afford dawdling at any point because every time you stop, that current is taking you out east. And then on the other hand, the wind is coming from the west. You can stand on the docks of Havana and put your tongue out, and you think you're tasting a crunch, and you think it's the salt vapor. It's not, it's the Sahara Desert. They call it the Sahara dust that is blowing 7,000 miles uninterrupted across this wilderness. And then that Gulf Stream is ramming up against that air current, and those two form these vectors of waves out there. Almost every day of the year, you are hard put to find one day a month that might be good enough to get across, but we need 3 days. Minimum 3, because we've also got to get over to Cuba, although that's changing somewhat. Why? So there was the journey itself, and the journey, if you love a story, and I think we all love a story, this was one heck of a story. In every way, a 60-something-year-old comes back to be a better athlete than she was in her 20s, a dream that many, many people, the best swimmers in the world, had tried this passage since 1950. It was stamped impossible. So I wanted to chronicle that journey, but also, I'm now 66, but the writing of it was at 64 and 65. You live a life, and you live a life that informs that particular journey. Not everything that ever happens to you. They were joking with me at Knopf and said that when Bill Clinton turned in his first memoir, I think it was about 1,600 pages, and they sat and had a talk with him and said, Bill, you can't tell the story of every person you've ever met and every place you've ever been and everything you've ever done. He said, well, I can, and I did. That's going to be the book, But nobody was going to be interested in my 1,600 pages, so I had to whittle it down, and the highly capable and caring editor at Knopf, Jordan Pavlin, I'm so proud, is with me tonight too, over here in the corner. And Jordan, I have to say, gave me a lot of confidence. She didn't interrupt much. She wasn't a line editor, every line of the book, let's say this, let's say this, let's say this. We had more philosophical talks. So it was a life story, it is a life story, and it's this narrative, this dramatic journey that's folded into the life stories that inform that particular journey.
And this
Was that short enough, that
it's
answer?
really
We
short,
could be here a while.
really short and concise, just like Bill Clinton's My Life.
Just
But
like,
I hear this book is a lot more entertaining from what I've read, and reading My Life of Bill Clinton's, the book is a lot more interesting than Bill's book of 16. Actually whittled it down to, what was it, about 750 pages, right?